Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel for another tips and tricks video. Today I am going to be talking about the tactic that I use in Football Manager 2020 that has taken Bath City from the Conference South all the way to the Premier League. I've used it all the way through. I'm going to show you the stats, I'm going to show you what formation it is, all the instructions and the sorts of players that fit those positions. Let's jump into the video. So then guys, jumping into my started from the bottom save with Bath City. As you can see, we have been going for 2,307 days. We've been at Bath a long time. We've seen a lot happen. As you can see in the top right hand corner, it is October 2025 in the current save that I'm at. We have played a grand total of 340 games. We've won 230 of those, giving us a win percentage of 87%. Bearing in mind, this does include my first season in the Premier League, where we've been getting slapped up and down the field by teams like Manchester United and Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool and a few more. Obviously, we've lost games. It'd be impossible to go through this whole series and not lose games. Obviously, this does take into account league matches and all cup matches, but this is the formation, guys, that I have used that has got me 5 promotions and 2 cups in the stint at Bath City. So diving into the stats a little bit more, we have scored 713 goals in those 340 games. We've also conceded 294, giving us a goal difference of plus 419. We score quite a lot of goals, guys, and once you get the sort of players that fit this formation better, you'll just see those numbers definitely start to rack up. So if we jump into the tactic, this is the shape that I play. I'm going to go through the entire tactical style, go through every player position individually, and show you guys what their instructions are and what we're set up to do. So this is initially a custom gegenpress with the guys set up in a 4. It's listed as a 4-3-3, but with midfielders. So I have the 4 defenders, a wide right and a wide left midfielder, a deep line playmaker, 2 attacking midfielders, and a advanced forward. But I'll get into that in a second. Let's jump into the tactical style a little bit more. So as I said, it is a variation on a gegenpress. We always start with the attacking mentality. What I do with this setup is I have the attacking mentality until we take the lead, and then I more often than not flick it back onto cautious and play the game out from there. As I said, the win ratio is pretty good at 67%. Obviously, we've been pretty good. We've been pretty successful with this. So this is how I have it set up whilst we are in possession. We play fairly wide. The 2 wide players and the fullbacks do stay pretty wide, hug that touchline relatively decently, even though it is on fairly wide. Obviously, you can bump this slider up a little, up a couple more levels, but we stay on fairly wide. We pass into space. We look for a lot of balls over the top, which does really well. Our striker, who I will show you later, is really quick. He suits that a lot. We also look for the balls over the top to the wingers, or left and right midfielders if you're being specific. But it works really well. We look for those balls over the top. It really does start picking teams apart and dragging a lot of players out of position. So we pass into space. We have the overlap on the left and we have the overlap on the right. Sometimes the fullbacks go beyond the wingers, which is really nice in attacking. Does sometimes get you caught out a little bit at the back. Obviously, we have conceded a small amount of goals, less than 1 goal a game, but it does sometimes play its part in you guys conceding. We also play out from the defense. Passing directness is slightly more direct with a much higher tempo, and we never waste time in this specific tactic. Obviously, I always advise training 3 tactics. I do train 3 tactics, even though this is the one I play most of the time. But in this particular one, we never time waste. In the final third, we look for low crosses, and we look to work the ball into the box. We don't play for set pieces, and we run at that defense. We try and get in their faces as much as humanly possible. So moving on to in transition, guys, we are set up as a counter press when possession has been lost. Obviously, I said it is a variant of the gegenpress. So yeah, we are set up to counter press, and when possession's won, we are set up to counter so that as many of our players bomb on as possible. In terms of goalkeepers and what they do, the goalkeeper in possession, I don't have anything ticked here. Neither distribute quickly nor slow down the pace. And distribute to the area / player, I try to give it to my fullbacks as much as humanly possible, just in case it's like a sliced clearance, or is that our goalkeeper doesn't do what he should do. So it goes out to the fullbacks. Hopefully, worst case scenario, it goes out for a throw in. Whereas sometimes if you're kicking it to your centre backs or distributing to my playmaker, for instance, it is more likely that mistakes could happen in a more dangerous area of the pitch. And the distribution type is roll it out. We try and keep things short again, hopefully trying to reduce those mistakes from the goalkeeper. Out of possession, then, we are set up for a much higher line of engagement. Again, that sort of goes with the gegenpress, and we have a higher defensive line. Defensive width is narrow. We have the pressing intensity at extremely urgent, as I said, custom variant of the gegenpress. We attempt to prevent the short goalkeeper distribution, and tackling is set to get stuck in. I will say with this variant of the tactic, you do get yellow cards. Sometimes you get red cards with the get stuck in, but I think on the whole, I think it works really, really well. So let's get into the positions and the instructions that I've got for these specific positions. First of all, we start off, I play a sweeper keeper. I've got them on tackle harder. I've got them as a sweeper keeper, mainly because I like to see them come off the line and be good at coming off the line and sort of preventing those chances. Nothing too ambitious with them. Obviously, you can go into this edit button here and you can set up a lot of different things for each particular role. So we have a sweeper keeper on defend, their mentality is balanced again. They are set to tackle harder. The passing is unable to be changed, and then I don't have passing risk set at all. So that is kind of it for the goalkeeper. Moving on to the fullbacks, and they are exactly the same for the left back and the right back. They are set up as fullbacks on support, so they will get up, but they also will come back. It's quite nice to have them there like that. As you can see when you look at the support, the description, the fullback is a key player in modern football, having to supplement his traditional defensive duties with overlapping runs down the wing to support the forward play and help attacks overload the final third. That is exactly what we've got set up. As I mentioned, we do like to play that overlap, so my fullbacks do bomb on even in the support, but obviously where they are set as a fullback, they are further back in terms of where they start their runs, and then obviously they do push on. In terms of instructions, again, if you click on the edit, as you can see, fullback with support, mentality is attacking, obviously because that is the mentality of the team. We are set at a standard pressing intensity. Nothing when the opposition has the ball here, nothing like tackle harder, ease off tackles, anything like that. We have them set to get further forward. We like the short passing directness. We cross from the byline, and that is kind of it. So as you can see here, set up the instructions of pass it shorter, cross from the byline, get further forward, and close down more. And as I mentioned, that is the same for both the right back and the left back. Okay guys, so now we move into the centre backs, and they are both set up exactly the same. And we have ball playing defenders set at defend. Obviously they are ball playing defenders, so obviously we look to try and find something a little bit better, someone who can actually pass the ball and start attacks for us in these areas. So they have themselves set up to pass it shorter, stay wider, tackle harder, mark tighter, and then because of part of the role, they have take more risks and hold position as part of that. If I expand this edit window, you can see things a little bit better. They have the mentality of balanced. They have a standard passing, they mark tighter, they tackle harder, as I've set up, they move and stay wide. You can set this up for both centre backs specifically, and then obviously they are set up to take more risks as part of a ball playing centre back, and then, you know, as I mentioned, set up with the short passing. So moving up the field now, we get into the deep line playmaker role, and potentially what I think is the most important role in this team. Getting yourself a really good deep line playmaker really does make your team tick. So I have my deep line playmaker set up as a deep line playmaker on support. They have the mentality of positive because of this. They have less urgent passing, they mark tighter, they tackle harder. They are reluctant to get further forward. Again, that's part of the role of the deep line playmaker, and they also hold their position because of that. Standard passing directness. They are encouraged to dribble more, shoot less often, and take more risks in terms of their passing. In my team specifically, my deep line playmaker is the person looking for those balls over the top that I mentioned earlier, with the overlaps to the fullbacks, or for the pacey striker that you hopefully have that can get in behind defenses and really start stretching teams for you. So that is the deep line playmaker role. Next up is the left and right midfielder. I have them set up as wingers on attack. So if we expand this out, you can see that they have a less urgent, So now I've expanded this out, you can see that they are wingers set up as attack. They give the mentality of very attacking. The winger aims to beat his man on the outside and needs to be technically proficient as well as quick in order to do so. So we have them as a less urgent style of passing. They are encouraged to mark tighter, and that is it for when the opposition has the ball. When the team has the ball, they are encouraged to get further forward and stay wider. The whole position is grayed out because of the fact that they are a winger attack. And then when the player has the ball, you have them set to run wide with the ball. Again, you're looking to stretch the opposition with this tactic. So they are set to stay wide, standard passing directness, and then some of the stuff that is colored out because of the role and the duty here. They have cross from the byline, cross more often, dribble more. I've got mine to shoot less often, so they obviously look for the pass more into the center, and then obviously aim the crosses at the center spot. So obviously I have the same here set up for the left and the right midfielder. So if we expand the left midfielder, they have exactly the same, just stay wider is pointing to the left, and run wide with the ball is again pointing to the left. Now we move on to the attacking midfielders, who are set up as attacking midfielder support. That gives them the positive mentality. The attacking midfielder operates higher up the pitch than a standard midfielder, so you cannot drive into space from deep in the manner that an attacking central midfielder, requiring excellent technical and mental skills. His role is to fashion chances for himself and others in the final third before opposition defenders reduce the time and space he has to make the play. With a support duty, the attacking midfielder tends to sit in the hole rather than get into the box. Now I have two attacking midfielders set up both on the support mentality, and I will tell you why now. My attacking midfielders get quite a lot of goals and are definitely involved in a lot of the action, and that is because you have the deep line playmakers sitting a lot deeper, obviously, and you have the wingers staying wide, stretching the play, and then my advanced forward, who I'll get to in a second, is looking for the ball over the top, looking to stretch. So you have the team sort of, the centre backs sort of sit deep because of the striker, the fullbacks are wide because of the wingers, and it gives these two attacking midfielders a lot of space to operate. So when the opposition has the ball, they have less urgent pressing intensity, and they have the trait of tackle harder. I just quite like tackling harder. It started in non-league. Just let the opposition know you were there, and it's kind of just stuck with me, really. Yeah, okay, we have games where we get a couple of yellow cards and we pick up a couple of fines here and there, but nothing too drastic. When the team has the ball, they're encouraged to get further forward and move into the channels. Again, it's all about creating space for other players here. So they do that really well. Sometimes they go beyond the striker, sometimes they drop into the hole. It is really good with both of these attacking midfielders. They are discouraged from holding up the ball, and they have a standard directness of passing. It is to dribble more and shoot more often. So if you get someone who has a good long shot, they are perfect for this formation. And then last but by no means least, we have my advanced forward who is set onto attack. And this is how they are set up. They're obviously very attacking. The advanced forward's main role is to lead the line and to look at spearheading attacking moves. His primary duty is to be the focal point of attacking moves, and he is required to both score and create goals. This is very apparent for my team. And my striker, Valentin Vega, he is a new gen striker. I will show you him in a minute so you can sort of look at what sort of attributes I look for these positions. But Valentin Vega is urged to press less urgently, mark tighter, tackle harder, again, urged to get further forward, move into channels. That is part of the advanced forward role. Hold position is off. Again, I think that is unavailable because he is a striker on attack. Hold up the ball is off, again, much the same. Shorter style of passing, is urged to shoot less often. Again, it's about creating spaces for other players, not necessarily just scoring himself, and take fewer risks. He is just basically there to run channels, create opportunities, and to get into really good positions, allowing others to score. Whilst my advanced forward has been my top goal scorer in every season, they're also definitely up there in terms of assists and chances created as well. So guys, now I have set up the team and I've shown you all of the instructions. I'm going to give you a quick once over per position of the sort of player that I look for in terms of trying to find someone to fill these gaps. So we're going to start off with the goalkeeper here. We've got Noel Bailey, our goalkeeper. He's Ivorian. He is top drawer. He is set up to sweeper, keeper, defend. That is exactly what his role and duty is. Obviously, when you start off with this formation, you're going to find players at your club that don't necessarily fit that. I still try and play that formation. I still try and maintain that so that they get the tactical familiarity, and then I will look at bringing in players, and all my new players will fit this tactic. So in terms of Bailey, obviously he is a goalkeeper, and he is set up for sweeper keepers. So the things that I do look at, I look for reflexes, handling, and one-on-ones in terms of my goalkeeper. But when it goes to sweeper keeper, they need to have good communication, good aerial reach. They need to have the handling as well. Decent enough passing. I think 10 for a goalkeeper in terms of passing is pretty good. They also need to be pretty good at rushing out and decent as well as in terms of distribution. They obviously need really good concentration and anticipation. Being that sweeper keeper positioning always helps for goalkeepers as well. The physical's not too bad, but obviously I've experienced in this save, if you have a slow goalkeeper, that's not good. That is not good. So as you can see with Bailey here, he is relatively decent in terms of physicals. They're all in double digits, but nothing supremely sticks out about him. He's a very solid goalkeeper. He's done really well for me. If we take a look here, he has kept 26, 27, 37, 43 clean sheets for me so far, and I bought him for 90k. So yeah, he's a really good goalkeeper in this save, and that is exactly what I look for in terms of my goalkeeper. On to the fullbacks now, and this is Gabriel Rivas, another new gen in my started from the bottom save. So he is set up as fullback defender, so you can play the role perfectly, as I mentioned. But this guy, so he's got really good tackling and marking, which he needs as a fullback, but he's also got good passing, first touch, and crossing, all in the double digits, nice in yellow, which is great. But he's got good anticipation, good concentration, really nice positioning, good teamwork as well, good pace and stamina. Work rate at 13 is quite nice as well. You could maybe like it a little bit higher because, as I mentioned, the fullbacks bomb on and do get those overlaps. He's a really good player for me. Has been developing lovely for me. He's obviously got 11 caps for Peru at 19 years old. He's labelled as a wonder kid, but he's also got the player traits of plays short, simple passes and likes the ball played into his feet as well. He's been a nice little player for me, and that is exactly what I look for in my fullbacks. Moving on to the ball playing defenders, this is a little bit of a spoiler if you are watching my starter from the bottom series. This is Peter Amakanji. I signed him in the summer in my second season, going into my second season in the Premier League. And this guy is the epitome of a ball playing defender. really nice heading, marking and tackling like you want for all defenders, but he's also got 13 in terms of first touch, 13 in terms of passing, 14 technique. The main ones he needs for a defender as well is good composure, good positioning, good jumping, reach and strength, which he's got in spades. But he also needs good anticipation, bravery, concentration, decisions, vision as well. It's 13 passing. He's got pretty good passing. Some of my midfielders have worse passing than that, but this guy, as I said, he is the epitome of the ball playing defender, if you ask me. He could step up and do a job in defensive midfield. I think he'd be a pretty good anchor man, but obviously I play him as a ball playing defender. Now, as I mentioned when going through the setup, the most important position in this formation for me is the deep lying playmaker role, which Christian Musso for me does very well. Those of you who watch the series will be very accustomed to Christian Musso. He's got really good technique as well as passing and first touch. That's kind of what you want. You want good composure, decisions, teamwork, vision and work rate are all spectacular for this guy. He's also got pretty good positioning. He can tackle well enough at 15. He's obviously not going to be the main guy who breaks things up, but obviously with 15 he can definitely mix it up with midfielders. He's got good anticipation and balance as well. Really nice stamina as well. It's one that's not highlighted by the game, but obviously the stamina and the work rate really do play a part. Obviously he is in the central midfield role kind of on his own. Sometimes he does get isolated if there's like a 5-man midfield, but then obviously that's something that you need to tactically change each time you play. But this guy's been superb for me. I couldn't recommend this sort of player enough. I love the deep line playmaker. He creates so many goals, but he doesn't necessarily get the assists that he deserves. If you go into the career stats, yeah, 9 in the Championship and 4 in the Premier League. As I said, it's not quite the stats that you're looking for in terms of goals and assists, but I definitely think he is the guy who in hockey, as they say, provides the second assist. So he provides the pass to the guy who provides the assist, if you know what I'm saying. Moving on to the winger spots, and this is Matias Bilbao, who we signed from Vélez in Argentina. He plays the winger attack role superbly. Really nice crossing, dribbling and technique. He's got good passing at 16, really nice first touch at 15 as well. Anticipation needs a little bit of work, I'm not going to lie, but he's got good flair and he's got good off the ball as well. Good pace as well, which really helps when you're trying to stretch these teams, as I mentioned previously. Good agility for twisting and turning inside the penalty area and out, and decent acceleration as well. No player traits. I'm trying to train a couple of things on him as well. As I mentioned, in terms of career stats, we signed him in the Championship and he's got 10 goals and 11 assists in the season in the Championship, and then 9 goals and 8 assists in the season in the Premier League. And he's already started this season that I'm currently in with 1 goal and 2 assists. So he definitely, in this position, really get involved in our final third. I couldn't recommend anyone better than these sort of stats from Matias Bilbao. So for the attacking midfielder then, the stats that I'm looking for are dribbling, first touch, long shots and passing. Felix Fury has exceptional technique at 18 as well, which is a bonus. This guy just gets in and around it all the time, laying the ball off. Doesn't necessarily score in abundance, but he is very good in that hole. He creates a lot. He gets passes through, really nice through balls into the penalty area, which our striker finishes quite a lot. Our striker is something special. He's also got good anticipation, good decisions, decent flair at 15 as well, and really good off the ball. The vision at 16 is also a plus. I see Felix Fury in this sort of role as like the Kevin De Bruyne in Manchester City. Just sort of sits there, gets involved in a lot of the play, does a decent amount of running. Obviously I'd like his work rate to be a little bit higher than 9, but he does a decent amount of running, but also sets a lot of the play in motion and definitely gets the team ticking. And last but by no means least, we have Valentin Vega, the Uruguayan striker, who plays my advanced forward role. He's got 18 finishing, 16 first touch, 14 in terms of dribbling, 17 technique and 18 composure, 17 off the ball. I mean, this guy is just unbelievable. He scored an abundance of goals for us this season and last season. was brought in to debut in the Premier League as a 19-year-old, and he's just been superb. So the stats you're looking for are the ones that are in green, as I mentioned, and he has these in spades. Obviously, the addition of pace and agility really do help out as well for breaking into the penalty area. I always look for an either-footed striker, but take it or leave it with that. As I've said, Valentin Vega is superb, and in this formation, he has done really well. Bearing in mind, we signed him at the end of the Championship season for 9 million. It was his minimum fee release clause. He has done really well for us. So in 38 games in the Premier League, played every game last season, he scored 20 goals and set up 11. Again, as I said, this striker will score a lot of goals for you, but they will also get a lot of assists. And he started the season that I'm currently in absolutely flying with 6 goals and 2 assists in his 8 appearances in the Premier League so far. So that is it, guys. That is my formation that I've been getting an almost 70% win ratio with, all the way from the Conference South up into the Premier League and beyond. I will be continuing this save. It was my starting from the bottom save, which is on the channel 4 days a week for you guys to check out. So hopefully you do that. But if you have enjoyed the video and you find this formation useful and my tactics breakdown useful, don't forget to drop a like below and subscribe to my channel if you are not already. But that is it for today. I will see you next time, next week, for another tips and tricks video.